Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's interview with Kathy Barton. My name is JJ. I'm the Director of Operations for the Adler Group. Kathy is our Senior Vice President. She's also one of our highest-rated trainers and speakers at the Adler Group and brings a wealth of industry experience with her. So, Kathy, you've been a trainer in the corporate world for many years. What is it about performance-based hiring that attracted you and motivated you to become a master trainer with the Adler Group?
I think that what motivated me to become a master trainer was having made hiring mistakes myself. There were a couple of significant hiring decisions that I made as a VP or SVP of marketing that really were not good hires. And the cost of that hire to my organization, to the company, to the team, to the person themselves, and to me was just higher than I wanted it to be. And I think when you look at the cost of a bad hire, people look at the financial side of that. They don't look at the cost of a bad hire in terms of the stress and the emotional cost to everybody involved. The person's co-workers, the person themselves who's now going to be let go, to you as the hiring manager who has to go through that process and then replace that person. It just was a very painful thing for me, both personally and professionally, and I did not want to have to go through that again. So when I met Lou, and I was first introduced to performance-based hiring, I was so happy to realize that I now had a process. I now had the tools to ensure that I wasn't going to have to go through that situation again, that I really just became a believer, became a true believer, and I wanted to be able to share that with other people as well.
Great. And you have shared it. You've shared it with hundreds and hundreds of hiring managers that you've trained. So in your experience, what are the three biggest takeaways or the three biggest aha moments that managers or interviewers have when they're going through the performance-based hiring for managers training?
You know, that's one of my favorite things about doing the training is watching people go through sort of the same experience I did in terms of going, oh my goodness, here is something that's going to help me make better hiring decisions. And I think some of the things that really resonate with people are understanding that if you haven't defined what top performance looks like, what the person you want to hire needs to do to be successful in the job, if you haven't defined that, then if you can find somebody who can do that successfully, you got lucky. You haven't defined it, you haven't shared it with your recruiter isn't looking for somebody who's done that successfully in the past so they can now do it successfully for you, and you're just finding somebody who might have the right general background and some of the maybe skills and experience that you're looking for, which, as we all know, does not predict success on the job. So it's really looking at the job in a different way, looking at it not in terms of skills and experience, but looking at, have you done the work that I need to have done successfully in the past in a similar environment? And so that's really almost redefining the question that you're asking in a way that makes it much more likely that you're going to find a good match to somebody who can do your job successfully. I think the second thing is helping people to understand that terms such as have good communication skills and be a good team player and be a multitasker are essentially meaningless phrases. Why are they meaningless? Because there is no job for which you want somebody who has terrible communication skills, no job where you want somebody who is a terrible team player or can only do one thing at a time. These are phrases that apply to every single job in your company. So just using that phrase doesn't communicate anything, either to the candidate or to the recruiter that's trying to find that person. you need to be able to define what good communication skills or good team skills means in your specific job. So are you looking for somebody who can take great messages as a receptionist, or are you looking for somebody who can stand up in front of a board of directors and present a business case? Those are two completely different levels of communication skills, and yet they both represent good communication skills for that job. So getting people to be specific about what they mean by those sort of what I call motherhood and apple pie statements and what that means in their job is something that when people really get that, that's very fun. And I think the third thing would be the whole concept of cloning your best employee. So if you say, who is the best person you've ever had in this job in the past? And what did that person do differently than the average person? So if I want another JJ for our position, then I've got to be able to define what JJ does better and differently than anybody else I've ever had in the job. And then I've got to be able to say to the recruiter, hey, I need you to find somebody who can do this, who can do this job not just in terms of having great problem-solving skills, but can put those problem-solving skills to work with a wide and diverse group of people, for example. So really being able to define what made that person better and then look for that same type of behavior, that same type of background in your next person.
So people who have attended this course, what are they saying about their experience with this training class?
You know, hiring is a very stressful thing. It's hard for hiring managers who don't do it very often and who know that the decision that they're making is a very important one and can have a lot of repercussions for them and their team and their organization. So I think what people get really excited about is having a process, having a set of tools that make them feel like they are prepared for this process. And not only are they prepared, but it's engaging. It's easy. It's something that suddenly they like doing because this whole process of talking to somebody about their greatest successes, about their most significant accomplishments. Honestly, I've never sat through a boring interview using this process because it's so interesting to listen to what people have done and hear their passion about it and hear what they learned through that process. And so as a hiring manager, it's something that is much more likely to be adopted. In fact, we have about a 94% adoption rate for hiring managers because it's something that is not confrontational, it's not complicated, it's not difficult. It's something that is natural and conversational, and it's a process whereby you really get to know the candidate and start to understand whether or not this person is a good fit for you and for your team, in addition to understanding whether or not they've got the right background and skills. And so I think what I really love to hear people say is, oh, I love this. This is easy. This is something I really think I can use. This is something that I'm comfortable with and that I feel like positions me well with my candidate to be.
Well, thank you so much, Kathy. And, I have to echo that from having been through the performance-based hiring process myself. It kind of echoes it from the interviewee standpoint, where this process really digs into the past performance, what I can actually do, what I'm motivated to do, what my intrinsic motivators are. And not only did it make me feel good about the experience, about the interview experience, but it also made me feel good about the company and about how the company must really care about getting the right fit for that position and for that company, so that it's a good experience not only for the candidate but also for the company as well. So I walked away thinking even if I didn't get the position, I felt good about the entire process, and I thought that was a really interesting learning going through it myself.
I think you're exactly right, and in fact we hear that from a lot of candidates as well. And as customers are looking more and more at this question of the candidate experience. And if you look at sites like Glassdoor, where people are posting what their interview experience is, you want your candidates to feel that way. You want them to feel like whatever the outcome of the interview process is, they were treated fairly, they were treated professionally, that the interview team took the time to really get to know them so that they could make a valid and honest decision about whether or not that they're a good fit. And so I think that's something that's becoming more and more important, because no longer is the interview process and what happens behind closed doors this dark secret. People are now talking about it on social media. So it's really important that your corporation is putting their best foot forward through the whole interview process and hiring process.
Right, exactly right. Well, thank you so much, Kathy, for spending a few minutes to talk with me today. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. If you have any questions, feel free to send us an email. The email is right there on your screen, info@louadlergroup.com. And somebody from the Adler Group will get back with you right away. If you'd like to reach out to Kathy directly, her email is also there on the screen, kathy.barton@adlerconcepts.com. So thank you. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Bye-bye.